Hey y'all, how's it going? I'm trading the ES futures on a 2000 tick chart with the 21 EMA. So I've got the overnight high up here and the overnight low down here. These are our key levels for the day. Now starting off, I started trading at 8 Central Time, which is this area right here. Now, I just want to mention at the very beginning here, these three dots, they represent this big picture triple test right here for this trade right here. I know people are going to wonder about that, so I'll just mention that at the beginning. Um, Now, notice we have this leg down, break, and then the second leg down. So we got two legs down here. But on a big picture, you zoom out, it's a little bit easier to see. You got one leg down. It's clearly just one sharp drop down on a big picture. And so that will come into play later. So at first, this downtrend has a break and a new low, and of course that's how it forms those two legs down. But you gotta you gotta notice the bigger picture structures. Eventually, this turns into one leg here. You get a break, first attempt lower, second attempt lower, reversal. So it all plays out. The price action levels, they play out the same, just on a bigger picture. So anyway, here we start finding resistance. We form the overnight low here. It's pretty clear we're in a range here, especially after this second swing here. It's pretty clear we're going sideways. And then we have a triple test here. Of course, this first entry, this first bar right here on the triple test is clearly blocked by STT, so you don't want to enter on that. But then even on this bar here, it's clearly right into these highs. It's within this range structure. You don't want to enter right into that. So even on this bar above, it clearly matches up with those. So it's all within this range structure right here. It's not an ideal triple test. If we could have gotten something down here, that would have been good. But we even had a sharp push down, and so I would have wanted to see another, not just a closeout. If we got a good, a closeout that's a very strong bar, that could have been good. But ideally, what would have happened was we get a push out and then get a second attempt down here, because even though we have a triple test on this side, on the other side, you notice how these bodies are higher than those. It kind of looks like two legs higher pushing down here. So which, considering we had this double test right off the overnight low, I wouldn't want to go short right there, but it did end up working out like that. So it's a pretty sharp move down. You got to be careful going long right after that. But anyway, so we do push higher here. We get this higher low. It's a breakout pullback, but it's not. You would want to see a reversal pattern after such a sharp move down like that. Now, because like I said, even in the moment, you can tell it's one leg on a bigger picture. Sometimes it's a little bit harder to see until more price action forms, but this one was pretty clear. So I would have wanted to see a sharper push out and then two attempts down here at like a two-legged, two clear legs, retesting this range high, not just basically sideways, higher low there. So anyway, we push on, and then also these highs could very easily be right here with those swings, and then it's kind of just mixed up within it, chopping. But anyway, we get a second leg up here. So we have a couple legs up here, and then notice how after we get two legs up, we push below the EMA with a pretty sharp move down. Now, I know that on a big picture, these two legs here are one leg, and then this is a higher low. But you do have to consider, take it one price action level at a time. You do still have two legs up, and then immediately push below the EMA. So that's not ideal for a long. What I would like to have seen is kind of like right here, how we have a push up and then a higher low. I would have liked to see that, maybe a smaller one, because it was getting choppy right here, going sideways, and then it kind of picked back up right there, getting choppy alongside that. So you don't want to enter right into those that clear resistance right there. So if we could have gotten a higher low, like another attempt down, maybe closing a little bit lower, we could have gotten a very small trade. But unfortunately, we don't get anything there. Now, I just want to mention here, as we're making, we have these couple legs up, it's forming this uptrend here. We can tell that this downtrend has a break right here. So that even though it looks like its own trend, and it is its own trend, but it's also a break for this bigger downtrend. So we have this downtrend, break, and then first attempt lower, second attempt lower, reversal. So I just want to show here, as we start pushing lower here, I know that we can look to make the couple attempts down at a new low here, and we just don't get a good setup in this. We don't get a good setup to make a new low, and so when we get this push down below the EMA here, I see, first entry long, and then when we get this next tick lower here, it's basically just following this one little trend right here. Notice I can draw this whole thing basically within one trend. So I'm not looking at each tick that goes by, I'm looking at the structure breaks. So I don't view this as a failed second entry, I just view this as a first entry long, and then this is the second push down right there. So I don't view this as like a first entry long, second entry long, and then a count reset. I just view this as a, I care about the structure breaks, so I just view this as a lower high. And, it had a very sharp push higher right there above the EMA. Now, considering, we came off the overnight low, and we had this push higher here, we could get another, trend up like that. So when we have a sharp push higher, very high above the EMA, and then at first it was struggling to get back below the EMA, I don't like going short right there. It's just, even though we know that we can look for, excuse me, we can look for legs on a bigger picture down, we also have to consider that there's competition. There's going to be people looking to make a second leg up. So if it's iffy and it's, showing that it's going with this right here, we got to avoid entering in the opposite direction. So we do push lower here. Now notice we got these couple legs down. It's pushing out of this low here, overshooting, and then we push all the way down to reach the overnight low again. So we get a bounce, no entry here, but it's a very significant bounce, and I ended up using that bounce as a triple test with this trade later on. But then here, this is where I got trapped. I took a loss here because it looked so good. We got this first entry short, second entry short failure, and I knew that there was clearly some downward momentum here. After we got this break, I didn't extend this trend line, and part of me didn't want to because I wanted to trade, and I kind of didn't let myself, but that was just an emotional mistake to do something like that. But when I extended over this swing here, this trend line, it's very clearly blocking my entry here. So, I should have considered that. It was a failed second entry. It was right after a, very sharp move off the overnight low. But, also, there's also other trend lines blocking it, like this one right here. So, it was pretty clear. I should have avoided that. I got stopped out there for 4 points, but, it generally, at a glance, it looks good. It, has generally good looking context, but I missed this, this one little thing, messed me up there. So anyway, we push on lower here. We retest it again. Now, considering this trend line just caused me to lose this trade right here, I'm not going to enter into it again. So we have this triple test with a good bar, and it's very strong, pushing off the overnight low, but you don't want to enter right into that trend line. So I waited for the closeout, and now, even though this looks like a very big trade, and I guess it is a very big trade, but it's not a more complex trade. It's not, it's still pretty simple. You have a downtrend, break, first attempt lower, second attempt lower, failure. Or I shouldn't say failure because it actually technically did make a new low there. But it's basically making a triple bottom off this overnight low here. But, technically it did play out. We have downtrend, break, 2 legs down to a new low before reversing higher. Very strong. Now, when we get a leg up like this, very, very strong. And also I do want to point out that I went for 1-to-1, but my target was within this swing right here. And to say that this swing was a little bit lower, I would have tried to get in with a little bit better entry to try to get out before that swing. So just mentioning that. But after we get this leg up right here, that's great for a reversal pattern. I would want to see a clear failed second entry, big picture. Coming off the overnight low, that's a reversal area, very sharp move. I'd love to see a reversal pattern, but unfortunately, when we get this break here, we just rush below the EMA, we start going sideways, choppy, and then we basically just get this higher low, pushing back above the EMA. Of course, that's not a failed second entry. It's just a, choppy higher low, not ideal, so I avoided it. We push up here, we test this high up here. We start finding very clear resistance here. Now, when we push out here and got this bar, this bullish bar, it looks like a big picture failed second entry. You can see here, first entry short, second entry short, failure. So it is a big picture failed second entry technically, but I'll draw out this risk to reward tool here, and you don't got any room. You would have to push it multiple points out, it looks like, or, at least a couple points, very far out of this clear high, and I'm not going to push it out of that high. That looks way too consistent right there. You know, not to mention, technically, to the tick, uptrend has a break. It to the tick made a new high. Now I know that if it only makes a new high with the wick, you can very easily get another attempt. It really needs to be done with the bodies, but it's just something to mention here, that it technically does have a new high, and then you also don't have room. So there's a couple things you don't want to enter on a trade like that. So anyway, we push up here. Now notice we have uptrend, break, and then 2 measured legs to a new high, and then at that measured area, that's when we reverse back down. And now I have it marked with this blue arrow here, or not blue arrow, sorry, this blue circle, because after it closes back below the EMA, and after it closes back, into this this high, it looks good to go short there, but there are a few things wrong with it. One, you have this uptrend line clearly blocking it, and then also with this range right here, it wasn't really a confirmed range, especially off the lows. It only had one bounce. It had this higher low. So basically the range is bullish, the EMA is up, everything is more bullish, and so you definitely don't want to enter into an uptrend line while everything is generally more bullish. So it does end up working out, pushing lower here, but you don't want to take that risk. So we end up pushing lower here. We bounce. It's funny. This area right here kind of looks like this area right here. Notice how we have those 2 legs up, and then we have a sharp push down, and then you get you're off a support level, and it looks tempting to buy, but it was right after 2 legs up into a sharp push down. And then same thing here. You have uptrend, break, 2 legs at a new high, and then a sharp push down, and then some might get tempted to buy here on this good signal bar off this low, but you just had a sharp reversal down, so you gotta wait for that to play out first. And anyway, so we end up pushing on higher here, basically getting all the way back up to that that swing up there. Now notice this range right here, it clearly reacts to it after it breaks out. We get this breakout, pull back. It's a you can see on a small picture at first you have uptrend, break, new high, but really you just get a breakout and you get this higher low right here. Now I would want to see 2 legs down right here, considering when we push down right here, we are also pushing down at a very similar level. It could count as a double top, and then considering it's going sideways into this kind of range looking structure, I don't want to enter into that, combined with it could have turned down because of this level. There could be some kind of resistance, so I wouldn't want to enter on that. But if we could have gotten like a more push out and then 2 clear legs retesting with room, that would have been great, but unfortunately I don't like that. Now we do push higher here, and then we get this, we're getting another basically breakout pullback. You basically have a bigger picture break here with those 2 legs up, and then you're getting a bigger picture breakout pullback. Now here, of course, I don't like that. It's right into the EMA. Downtrend does have a break and a new low, but it's a very bearish looking move right into the EMA. EMA is down. Also, of course, back inside of this resistance level, so I don't want to enter into that. And then it's starting to get into this range and getting choppy, so even when we get this bullish bar here, it's just right into that, so I would just avoid all that. And then similar thing up here, we push up, it started going into this range kind of structure a little bit, and then we got a breakout, and then it faded back in. And some may get tempted to buy off this trend line, but what really happened was it formed a range. It found resistance right at that double top, formed a range, broke out, faded back in, and then, that's basically the move right there. Clearly finding resistance, so you don't want to enter into that. It already did the fade. So anyway, that's going to do it for this video. I hope it helped out in some way. I really appreciate you watching it. I did enjoy making it, and I'll see you next time.